Reminder up here now, if you want to speak to us on any topic, fill out a little yellow doobie like this right outside the door and bring it up and give it to the city clerk, and she'll hand it to the city attorney, who will hand it to Councilman Cox, who will hand it to me, and then I'll hand it now. We'll stop it there. But anyway, if you want to do that, fill it out, and also, if you would at this time, please silence the enormous amount of electronic devices we have in this room. I know we probably have 50 in this room, so please silence them. And at this time, I'm going to ask Reverend Gene Strickland from the Okaloosa Baptist Association to lead us in prayer. If you don't care to join us, you may exit the room during the invocation, then come back in. And Reverend, I'm going to ask you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance after, if you would.
Let's pray together. Father, thank you for the privilege of living today. Thank you for loving us, and caring for us, and sharing with us in every experience of our lives. And thank you, Father, for bearing with us. We come together and we join our minds and our hearts and our spirits and ask that you give insight and wisdom to us, to this council, to those in places of responsibility and authority. We pray, Father, that in a world of chaos, and trials, and unrest, that you will prove yourself to be God among us, that we might allow you to lead and guide and direct us. Thank you again for loving us unconditionally. And we pray, Father, that you will be honored with us in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Strickland. We're going to take just a minute before we sign in. We got to wait for the little doobie to come up here. But while we're waiting for that, oh, there it is. Go ahead and sign in, please. Never know if everybody's here but me. I'm here. And in addition to your city council, you have our distinguished mayor, city clerk, city attorney, and all our department heads. And in the back of the room, we have the media, and we have our police protection with us too. Really appreciate that. We had minutes sent out to us from the 9th of April city council meeting, and the 30 April special meeting, and May 14th council meeting. Did anybody find any objections to them? If not, they're approved by unanimous consent. Bless you. Public hearings, we have none that I'm aware of. No special presentations either, right, Mayor?
That's right.
Skipped right over you. Didn't see you down there. Okay, no public hearings, so public opportunity on council propositions. If there's anything on the agenda anybody would like to talk to us about, now is the time that you would fill out a card and come up and speak to us. Anybody in the audience like to do that? Going once, going twice. And we're going to move on to the consent agenda. And does anybody have any items they would like removed, pulled from the consent agenda? Okay, I would like to have item G pulled for discussion. If I could get a motion on the other ones, I'd appreciate it.
Mr. President,
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Cox.
I move to approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, D with pyro shows for $10,000, E and F.
H and I.
H and I.
H and I.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, have motion second to approve all the consent agendas with the exception of G. Any discussion? Please go to voting. And the vote carries 4-0. Okay, on item G, the approval of the consolidation of the police and the fire dispatch centers, something that we've talked about in the past, and I think all of us have met with both the fire chief and police chief and had a discussion. That was a good thing to happen. The question I have for both of the chiefs, since we've kind of expanded this into a bigger area, originally we were going to do a smaller job that didn't quite fit into the scope of things, and so we've kind of expanded it. Have we thought of bringing in the county EMS into this consolidated dispatch center where we would have everybody in one location to do dispatching? Has that ever been a discussion that you've had? First, you,
Yes,
Jamal?
sir. We actually made contact with the county dispatch center. At one time, they was talking about putting a console in our dispatch center for in case the fiber optics got cut between north and south, so they could send up a unit. But then with things changing, Mr. Alvin Henderson is no longer working there, and also the EMS chief, Voss, is no longer working there. Discussion things with Mr. Robert Murphy, who is the dispatch center coordinator. They just said at this time they're just going to have to hold off because they're still in discussion on changing up their whole system. So they don't know what they really want to do at this point in time.
Okay, thank you. Commander, you probably weren't, were you involved in the discussions at all?
I know Chief Taylor was at the time, but I think the information Chief Holland gave you was the most recent
Okay,
stuff.
so we've had that discussion and it might happen maybe sometime in the future?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think the more we can consolidate and save money for everybody, that'd be a great concept.
Mr. President,
Okay, yes, go ahead, Mr.
Chief Holland just kind of passed right over it, but that was a concern to me. If we consolidate and have everybody in the same room, same building, and a tornado hits it, then we're totally out of communication with anybody.
Yeah.
If we have the FD in one place and the PD in another place, then we still got at least one operating center.
Thank you, good point. Okay, having said that, can I get a motion to approve that one item then?
Mr. President.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Davis.
Motion to approve agenda item G.
Second.
Motion second to approve item G. Any discussion? Please go to voting. Oh, it's not being cooperative tonight, is it?
No way.
There we go. We have one nay, so the vote carries 4-1. Moving on to item 10, resolutions. We have resolution 18-15. Madam Clerk, if you would read that for us, please. Is it the same as the one we have, or this new one we got, is there a change?
That was just had the strikeouts and deletions comments on it. There's no
Okay.
change.
All right.
Resolution 18-15 reads by title, a resolution of the City Council of Crestview, Florida, amending subsection B of section 14-09 of chapter 14 of the City of Crestview Personnel Manual, allowing for overnight accommodations, allowing for reimbursement of reasonable cost, establishing rules for travel arrangements, and amending subsection C of section 1409, authorized meal amounts, providing for distribution of the changes to the personnel manual to all departments and agency of record, and providing an effective date. This is resolution 1815. This is the resolution that was discussed in the workshop at the end of last month, with the changes that were at the consensus of the council members.
Right, I think we're familiar with it because it's what we asked you to do. And, does anybody have any questions for the city clerk? If not, I would like action, please.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Hayes.
motion to approve resolution 18-15.
Second.
I have a motion second to approve resolution 18-15. Any further discussion? If not, please vote. And the vote carries 5-0. Resolution 18-16, out of city utility services. Ms. Teresa, if you would handle that first, please. Actually, Madam, who's going to read that? Madam Clerk?
That would be me. Resolution 18-16 reads by title. A resolution of the City Council of Crestview, Florida, accepting a petition for out-of-city water service, establishing water service for property located at 708 Rock Avenue, aka 21-3N-23-1670-0013-0300, Okaloosa County, Florida, allowing for written objections by citizens and if necessary, a public hearing within 30 days from enactment of this resolution, providing for municipal services agreement between the petitioner and city, and providing for an effective date. This is Resolution 18-16.
Gentlemen, Brendan Wax, the property owner, had submitted in his application for 708 Rock Avenue. This was an existing water tap and service, so this is relatively a name change. He is 1 block away from being able to annex. That's it in a nutshell.
Any questions, comments? Action, please.
Mr. President,
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Blocker.
I move to adopt resolution 18-16.
Second.
Have motion and second to approve resolution 18-16. Any further discussion? Not, please go to voting. Vote carries 5-0. Resolution 18-17, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 18-17 reads by title. A resolution by the City Council of Crestview, Florida, accepting a petition for out-of-city water service, establishing water service for property located at 5163 Lake Drive, aka 21-3N-23-1670-0022-0180, Okaloosa County, Florida, allowing for written objections by citizens and if necessary, a public hearing within 30 days from enactment of this resolution, providing for a municipal services agreement between the petitioner and the city, and providing for an effective date. This is Resolution 18-17.
Gentlemen, this was submitted by William and Janet Johnson, and Daniel Coons and his wife, Jill. They are actually small developers. This is about the 4th lot along Lake Street that they have developed. We did provide a new tap, and they paid all the pertinent fees. They are not contiguous to the city. However, they have executed their proper municipal services agreement and paid all costs in for providing the water itself. As I said, this is about the 3rd or 4th one down Lake Street. In about 6 to 8 months, you will probably see this again, where we have a happy homeowner who will be petitioning, and there will result in a name change resolution. So,
Any comments, questions? Not a call for action?
Mr. President,
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Blocker.
I move to approve resolution 18-17.
Second.
Have motion second to approve resolution 18-17. Any further discussion? Not, please go to voting. Vote carries 5-0. Resolution 18-18, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 18-18 reads by title. A resolution by the City Council of Crestview, Florida, accepting a petition for out-of-city water service, establishing water service for property located at 3152 Chestnut Avenue East, aka 22-3N-23-0760-0023-0000, Okaloosa County, Florida, allowing for written objections by citizens and if necessary, a public hearing within 30 days from the enactment of this resolution, providing for a municipal services agreement between the petitioner and the city, and providing for an effective date. This is Resolution 18-18.
Gentlemen, Charity Cox, property owner, has submitted her application for the out-of-city services. It's an existing tap and an existing water service there at 3152 Chestnut Avenue East. So essentially, it is an name change and responsibility, but it does help us fill up our hole as we're working our way down Chestnut Avenue East.
Any comments, questions? If not, action, please.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Cox.
I move to approve Resolution 18-18.
Okay, have motion second to approve Resolution 18-18. Any further discussion? Please vote. Vote carries 5-0. Seeing no committee reports, we move on to item 12, scheduled presentation from the public. And I believe our Growth Management Director has a presentation for us.
Gentlemen, this is our presentation of the Superior Young Bracket, and Mr. Bilby will spearhead this.
Good evening. Jonathan Bilby, Building Official, City of Crestview. We're here today to discuss changing the way the city does business as far as a planning, development, order review, and building permit review process. The process, and I'm sure every one of you sitting here has heard a complaint from a citizen about how long it takes to get a building permit, how long it takes to get a development order. And so we've been looking at ways that we can streamline that process. Our current process, we have a submittal of up to 5 sets of paper plans. They come into an intake person. They're distributed across departments. Reviews are done on these paper copies, and then the review comments come back. They're sent out as a one set of comments. Then the applicant has a chance to go over those comments and bring them back, bring in revisions, and the application process starts, or the review process starts back over again. So it's a time-consuming, lengthy process. Residential plans can take as little as 2 weeks, but 2 weeks is still a long time for a set of house plans. So this is a process that we want to change. And there are certain mandatory provisions in state statute as far as building code regulation and our land development code that we have to look at. So some of those processes have to stay in place. So I believe a solution to this problem, we as a department believe a solution to this problem is to move to a electronic plan review application process. So whereas an applicant could submit electronically, reviews would go out to all departments. Those reviews would be done simultaneously, and as the reviewer looks at those plans and provides comments, the engineer, architect, contractor can address those developer. They can address those comments in real time and have those back to the reviewer. So it'll speed that process up if we can move towards that electronic plan review. So I was fortunate enough to go to the International Code Council annual conference last September, and I sat in a class, or several classes, but one in particular on electronic plan review and electronic application process. One of the things I took away from that, the building official for the city of Maricopa, Arizona, he taught the class, and he went over the time frame that they reduced. They went from an average time frame of about 30 days for an application review to less than a week. So that's a substantial increase in the process and the time it takes to get a permit issued or a development order issued. So after getting back from the conference, we started looking at some different options, and we came to the conclusion that the best option we think for the city of Crestview is a program called Track It. Track It is a one-stop program, or one integrated program that integrates GIS, it integrates plan review, electronic plan review, and allows a really good access for the citizen, for the builder. And so what I want to do is turn the podium over to Justin Purnell, of Track It and let him give you a demonstration of how that product works.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Justin, and I am the account executive for Superior. We provide your current community development solution as well as your finance software. Mr. Bilby and I have been engaged. They've been looking at moving to the latest product, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Justin. I'm still the account executive. So currently, Superior has customers in over serving 175 million citizens. You'll notice that we have a lot of traction in and around the state of Florida, and a lot of your neighbors have already rolled this out and are having success with it. The closest one being Fort Walton Beach. I had a video where we had some of these references actually talking about the impact of these processes on their organization. However, we couldn't get the audio to work, so I'd be happy to provide that maybe in an email to Mr. Bilby so you guys could view that. I think it's pretty powerful, the message they have there. But I think what Mr. Bilby is saying is this is not something new. There's proof of concept here, and other agencies are rolling this out and having great success in building better communities across the state of Florida. So as Mr. Bilby mentioned, it's a modular system, and everything is what we call geo-based. Right now, the city has an Esri ArcGIS server. Today, your community development solution does not integrate with that server. However, moving to this will allow you to leverage the technology you've already invested in and work with it and track it. This will allow the capability for GIS mapping. By looking at a parcel or an address, you get to see all activities across all departments, from planning and zoning to permitting to issues and complaints to code enforcement. So you take away the siloed effect of people working in different disparate systems. There's also an online citizen portal as well as a mobile inspection capability in the field to reduce data duplicate entry for those inspectors going out. The iTrack-It capabilities will be for both code enforcement officers and building inspectors to result inspections in real time in the field. When Mr. Bilby's going out there and completing an inspection, by the time he hits approved, that applicant will automatically get an email telling them that their inspection has been approved with other relevant data, as well as a link to the Citizen Access portal where they can log on and get more information and a global look at all of their business with the city. With the addition of the Bluebeam review capability, this is the electronic plan review piece that Mr. Bilby was talking about. Now these plans can come in online and with electronic applications. While we can still support the agency moving forward with digital and increasing efficiency, we also realize that some of the different demographics of your contractors and builder may be the last people to get there, so we can support these processes in parallel. So while you continue to trudge forward and really start to grasp your electronic plan review, you can still work with people that aren't maybe moving as fast as the city is with technology. With the addition of the Citizen Access portal today, they'll be able to log on, search for information about properties, look at current developments that are going on, apply for simple over-the-counter permits, maybe for a sign or a water heater. They'll be able to pay fees, as well as get updates across all of their different records. They'll be able to schedule inspections, look up for information, as well as upload additional plan sets and any other documentation you would need. So some of the benefits for the staff here will be the decrease of data entry, which also will increase your data integrity, decreasing the amount of people having to key in this information. It'll also provide robust reporting and search capabilities, some of which you already have invested in. They will work with this product as well, so already leveraging the money that you've spent on previous products. The e-plan review efficiencies, as Mr. Bilby had said, many agencies are experiencing almost a 75% decrease in the time that's allowing them to work through those plan sets. The mobile inspection resulting will really start to give the public real-time results as far as what's going on. As soon as he hits update and he's probably not to the truck, that contractor already knows that he's either been approved or what he needs to do to get that work fixed and come back so he can be improved. Also, the benefit, while it's for the public as well as the staff, offering a lot of these capabilities online will reduce your counter traffic and unnecessary people having to come down here and do something that might have been mundane that could have been easily done online. So for the public, 24/7 access to information and transparency, while also giving you the control to allow what you would like them to see online and protect certain other things that you guys think that you would like to keep private. Proactive progress notification is kind of what I mentioned with the automatic emails, letting the contractors know exactly what's going on. Your review has been denied. We need a resubmittal. Your inspection hasn't been approved. Your project has been finalized. Please come pick up your permit. All of that is done by the system at predetermined clips that we set up and configure with you during the business process review. The robust self-service portal will really allow them to do anything and everything you allow them to do while still keeping control of the services that you want to still make them come to the counter, and more simple things that maybe they can go through the full process online. The increased transparency as well as self-service reporting and mapping functionality that will decrease the time that Mr. Bilby and them will be filling FOIA records. The man hours required to do that will be cut down substantially, and those can be offered online to provide a lot of savings for both the public and internal staff fielding those questions. With that, I'm here for any questions that you guys have about it.
Yes, Mr. Fairclough, go ahead.
Is this going to come with a checklist that you can give the applicant? Because what I have heard in the past is they will think they've got their application completed, and they'll come to turn in, and they say, no, you need one more thing, and then they'll bring it back, and oh, no, you need one more thing. So can we give them a checklist so they'll bring everything completed the first time?
Exactly, and that's the idea. So when they select on the Citizen Access Portal, let's just say a building residential single-family dwelling, then they're going to be provided with a complete list of everything that they need to do to submit that online, as well as a checklist of what it will need to do. Once that's uploaded electronically, Mr. Bilby or other staff will then look at it to review that in fact the plan set that they digitally uploaded is a plan set and maybe not a picture of their latest family reunion, but it still takes a human eye just to make sure that we do have those 6 checklist items. And
So-
yes, that is included.
So then they can, at their office or at home, do it all on their computer? They come into a kiosk at City Hall, or how does that work?
Both of those options we have agencies doing.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other, Mr. Hayes, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Seems like it's real good. This is basically, I guess, I'm looking back here on your summary page for the total cost of that right there. Now for the summary where it says cloud host annual access fees, is that 82?
That's what it says.
Something that is not highlighted in there is the cost that you're currently paying for your community system today will go away. So then there's really just the net increase of the difference, if that makes sense. And we're working with Mr. Bilby to finalize what will stay intact and what will remain with some of the financial applications and things like that. And then we'll just have a delta in what the difference will be rolling forward with this.
Okay, I'd like to see that whenever that comes out.
Okay.
The other thing would be to growth management, as far as the cost here. How do we propose on, or how would you propose on paying for this?
Mr. Hayes, the building department is set up by statute that we have to retain all of our building permit fees only for use for building code enforcement activities. We have an escrow account that we have set aside surplus fees, and we're prepared to pay for some of or the majority of those costs out of that escrow account.
That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Blocker.
Mr. Bilby, let me ask you a question. Basically, the operation of this system, you're gonna be the key man, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
If you do your job, I get the biggest complaints, belly aches, and bitching out of the growth management. Mr. Joe, these subcontractors can't get what they want, can't get what they want. We gotta change something, and it seems like it might be a good program. But I'd like to know what the bottom line, and do we have any software available that will coincide with it, or is it gonna be a new system entirely?
Well, this will replace our current Naviline system.
That's what I say.
Same parent company, Superion, and it allows us to have all the functions that he showed, that Mr. Purnell showed.
But let's say in your budget, do you have what percentage of this cost?
Well, when we find out what the difference in the yearly cost is, I plan on paying for the majority of that, if not all of that excess, out of my budget, out of the building department budget.
For 2017 or 2018, or when?
Yes, for the future upcoming budget. And as far as using the fees to pay for the system to get it set up, out of that escrow fund. Yes, sir.
So if we was to accept this, how soon could this go in progress?
The setup time is 10 to 13 months. So the sooner we act on it, the better as far as the city goes.
Okay, that's all, Mr. President.
Mr. Cox, you're next.
Yes, Jonathan, could you provide, or do you have that available yet, our current a cost analysis where we're at today with this new proposal, and also return on investment time? Should we go with this new system?
We can do that.
Okay, I'd like to see.
I'd like to ask Mr. Parnell a couple of questions, if you wouldn't mind, sir. First of all, would you supply us with with that slide that has a list of cities that currently is using this software?
Yes, sir.
So we can do due diligence on our part. And then secondly, the way I read this is completely a cloud-based system, correct?
Yes, it is, sir.
So is it cloud-based infinity, or is there any ceiling on how much we can store in the cloud with your system?
There's not really a ceiling. I mean, there's a certain point where you would have to increase your attachment storage, but we're talking possibly a $200 increase one-time fee, maybe in 5 years.
So if you
and that
increase
would
the
be
storage, then there would be a
right,
recurring
and
cost.
that's the only thing that you need to think about when you're talking about cloud and expansion.
Now, we don't always like to focus on money. Actually, we do. Because that's our job,
Sure.
to protect the taxpayers' money. And so we didn't really see the cost until this evening. We saw other things, but we didn't see this. And so I need to get it clear in my mind. It looks to me like the startup cost is $308,000, is that correct?
Correct.
And then the recurring cost every year would be $82,000?
That's the cost, but what's not included is the decrease in what you're paying for your current system
okay,
today.
I got that,
So
yeah.
just using round numbers, let's say that it's 40,
Yeah.
and so then it
Maybe
would just be,
42,000.
thank you,
Yeah.
exactly.
Capiche, yeah. Okay. All right, I think that's all I have. We're not making a decision tonight anyway. We're doing our homework, but if you could, you had Jonathan or Teresa, somebody shoot me at least the email. I don't know if they all want it to, but if you send us a whole presentation, it'd be nice.
Absolutely.
We definitely want the cities.
And I'll send the one with the video so you guys can look at that, and
Oh,
feel
yeah.
free to contact those
I'll go look at
agencies that are,
videos.
yeah.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take input from our elected officials, starting with Mayor Cato. What do you have for us this evening?
I just wanted to mention that Mrs. Roy and Mr. Whitten and I were in Walton Beach for a meeting this morning with representatives from each of the cities, 9 cities of Okaloosa County, reasserting the desire of the entire county for the first time ever to be on board with the approaching Triumph Gulf Coast Committee for a large section of transportation issues, especially those that affect North Okaloosa County, and especially Highway 85 and bypasses around the city. Each of the cities are realize that this affects the entire county. Everyone has come on board with a resolution to support the county in this effort. All the chambers of commerce, EDC, the college, and a host of other folks have all joined together. I think there's probably pretty good prospect that we'll see some fruit from this thing for transportation issues. And I'm sure Mrs. Roy and Mr. Whitten felt pretty good about that meeting today. It was very profitable. And may I add one more thing, Mr. President? I'm sure earlier this evening, Mr. Ron Gottney approached me out there, wanted me to, if I would nominate him to the historical board. And that is not on this evening, so I'm not sure whether it's the appropriate time to renominate someone for the historic board, and Ms. Teresa might know that. I'm
Is that your prerogative to do that, right?
sure. Well, that's what I
believe
don't know. If
I
it's
believe
mine.
is it an appointment, Teresa, to the historical board?
Start board,
Just an appointment by the mayor, or does it need concurrence of the council?
normally it comes from the chairman there, and I think we're full, the board was full.
I was telling them that Mr. Gottney approached me,
Mr. Gottlieb did? Okay.
and he wanted to be reappointed, and I told him I didn't know whether it was my reappointment or the council, whatever, but I would pass it on.
Most city boards have an automatic, reappointment unless somebody wishes to change their appointment person. So you're reappointing Mr. Gauntney?
Well, if that's appropriate for me to nominate him to be reappointed to that board.
Can he be on both? CRA and Historic Board?
I don't know that there's any rules against it, but I will check. But I thought he was already on the historic.
Well, I thought so too, but
There's
that
like
was
about
just,
25 people in there, so I don't
Right.
remember. We've just replaced a
No.
bunch of them. It's
No.
quite a large board for the Historic Preservation Board.
I think I'm getting the word back here that maybe he's not a member of the board right at this time. And, so if he's not a member, I would gladly.
historical board?
Does it have to be,
Historical
has to be an
board.
opening for him to nominate?
There would have to be an opening.
Right.
As long as there's an opening. Like I say, I think the board is saturated.
Would you look into that?
I will
Then
look
get
into
back
it.
Bring it
to
back
us?
the next
I
time.
will.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, Mr. Block, I'm gonna add something.
Question, Rachel, I think it fell in my line. Cal was on the board, correct? Historical?
Yes, sir. Cal was there. I haven't.
And I was the person that appointed him. And I would think that that is repetitious, so I should have the opportunity to appoint his fulfillment.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's according to statute what our ordinance is today. Yeah.
Mr. President, I think
Yes,
the
Mr.
proper way, if there's an opening on there and he wants to recommend him for the board, would be the board approves it.
But Teresa's gonna first check to see if there's an opening, which it
Let's
should
make
be.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got a earache, so, we'll make sure, that there is an opening and
Okay.
that he is viable candidate.
All right, bring it back to the next meeting then, because we're not gonna vote on it tonight, Mr. Hawley. Okay. Ms.
That's all I
Fairclough,
have.
what do you have for us?
Just a couple of things. I have couple of questions for Ms. Teresa. Where do we stand on the abandonment of maypoles there between Burger King and the church?
We're processing it. We're doing some additional reports. It did not pass any of the boards, so, we're going to have a discussion group. Matter of fact, we were going to turn it over to our legal. One of the things we wanted to, pursue was getting a legal opinion from our, land attorney in Tallahassee. Neither of the boards recommended it. And, we took it last time, one of our LPA members is actually, familiar with it, but he was not at our last LPA meeting. So we tabled that to discuss at this next one, so.
Okay, one other
Go
question.
ahead, you, Flo.
2-3 months ago, you mentioned that we may get a Panda Express south of Zaxby's. How does that stand?
It's still in the process. That's, as a matter of fact, the additional land that they're going to take in the next restaurant down, they'll be seeing that for that additional area for annexation, within the next, month, for that additional land that's behind you.
Are there any other businesses that you can talk about?
Not at this moment,
Okay, thank you.
but keep your fingers crossed for the other one they're contracting with.
Okay.
Mr. Hayes, you're on.
Okay, Mr. President, just a few items. I was at the Board of Directors meeting for the state of Florida this last 3 days. I got back Saturday. Some items, things that came up I thought might be important to the board and our citizens. One thing at this year's conference, can you hear me?
I'll check him because
Okay,
sometimes you get away from the mic and they can't
Yeah.
hear you back there.
At this year's annual conference, they're going to be the 5th anniversary of the home rule, and they have different things that are planned for the home rule. As we know, the importance of home rule, which is where we, as elected officials, truly believe that we can represent our city and manage it better than somebody 144 miles down the road. And that goes for all over the city. As we know, there was attack on home rule this prior year, and we're sure it's going to probably come back again. On the red light camera issue, Supreme Court made a ruling on that on May 3rd, 2018, which was an issue concerning where you could have a third party. And the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the city of Aventura, that they could have a third party that was advised in that. So that's a Supreme Court ruling that's going on. In that, the gentleman, Mr. Jimenez, did not, he stated he had violated the law and got a citation. He had no questions about that. His question was, when it came for review, there was a independent group that was recommending they would have two sets, and they would pass them on to the municipal police department, and they would make the decision. Well, he thought the other group shouldn't be in there passing along, and so Supreme Court ruled against that in favor of the city. Florida Municipal Communication Association, where there's an advisory committee now comprised of several municipal employees responsible for communicating with the public to help us evaluate and improve communication efforts with the membership. This is a new committee, and with the Florida Municipal Communicators Association, FMCA, they're going to launch this summer, and it'll be able to help cities with public information, messaging, public relations, public affairs, community relations, social media, print media, and multimedia communication. So that'll be an added plus from the League of Cities with that. Also, there's a site called ICMA, and in there, if you get a chance to look at it, I'm not going to go over everything on that. There's 4 factors that they say influence government financial decisions, and one of them being political citizenship involvement, one being economical influence, other one being social and demographic changes, and legal and intergovernmental matters, which there's some good information there if somebody wants to really take a look at that. It's referred to as ICMA. Mr. President, there's on the social media, there was made reference to, which is in my district, and also as Mr. Cox's district, and as well as the city, in reference to a splash pad that they did over there, and which is great. I like to also inform the public that the city of Crestview provides us a new splash pad at Allen Park. The citizens are enjoying it. What they're looking for is some places to sit with their kids, and we're going to work on that. So we'll have some place for them to sit on that. With that, Mr. President, I'll be off again to another meeting on Friday, but I'll be around for contact.
Thank you, Mr. Blocker.
Yeah, question. Alluded to what Doug just mentioned about the Maple Street issue, where the pastor made several comments to me, and I'd asked Mr. Steele just give me a draft in black and white instead of trying to remember everything. Mr. Steele, can you make a comment what's developed on my request?
I haven't been contacted by anyone, Mr. Blocker.
I asked you about Maple Street.
Oh, yeah, you contacted me,
right,
but no one else has contacted me.
No one else has at this time.
That's right.
Right.
And as Ms. Gaillard stated a while ago, I'm not familiar with the process if anyone from the church has talked with her or any other, any progression of the effort. In other words, I don't have any updates other than what I told you, shared with you.
He might not have shared all he had shared to me, Doug, from that. But new business, and let me say this, I had a meeting with corporate management of Popeyes, and I do have a projected tentative date when they're going to let y'all eat chicken. So I can tell you now or not tell you, so what you want to do?
Eat their red beans and rice.
Tentatively, what they plan on doing at this present time, July the 17th, to have all the preliminary, the VIPs, etc., but open to the public on the 24th of July. So you can all do without till then, you'll be great.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Hayes.
In reference to what he just said, I'd like for our growth management director to explain to him why it's taking so long, because I talked with her today concerning it, and she explained it to me. Maybe she can explain to the public why some of them say what's taking so long, what's going on, if you don't mind, Mr. President.
Yeah, that's fine, 'cause, yeah,
Okay, on Popeyes, they have, from their initial route, they had refashioned a much safer entrance route, and they are working with FDOT in getting that finally approved and in place, and it just takes a little while to get plans, especially when you're dealing with the state. But it's looking better. We have received the new package, and we will sit down tomorrow and have a discussion with them. They had to actually purchase another piece to the north of theirs in order to facilitate a safer entrance exit there, and also for their stormwater. They had purchased a piece from the adjacent property owner in order to address the stormwater pond there. So they're hitting the high spots from the state. So, but they seem to be doing it successfully, and we're looking forward to it opening.
thank you. Mr. Cox?
Two things. The Country View and Allen Park splash pad improvements are much appreciated by the citizens. It's just a lot of positive comments there, feedback. Other thing I want to mention is continue to have 3 openings on the Citizens Advisory Committee. Is that not, that's still correct, is it not?
That's correct, and we sure wish we could come up some citizens.
That's on the Citizens Advisory Committee of the Okaloosa-Walton Transportation Planning Organization. It meets 6 times per year, 9 a.m. in the morning, and they divide the locations between the Shalimar Annex and Defuniak Courthouse. This is a citizen opportunity to have input on area infrastructure projects. I volunteered and served approximately 2 years on Citizens Advisory Committee before I was elected to City Council here. So I'd like to see some citizens step up, and it's an opportunity to have some involvement rather than say what's wrong. You can have some positive input.
One of our main problems is, for that area, is the distance that they must travel in order to attend the meeting. So just, if we could find anybody out there interested in going, and maybe, they could carpool. You know,
Just-
or if it was desperate or not, we could actually, could we possibly transport them, or initiate some type of, a van, well, I guess the city has a van, but have a specific car that could take the people to the meeting. That's our most disappointing factor. People will have the time, but they do not have the transportation.
Being the largest city in the area, I cannot remember. Usually those board seats on advisory committee were pretty promptly filled, but I cannot recall 3 openings. It's a chance to really make a positive contribution. Where are you?
Would they have to be a city resident or not?
That should be, because these openings there are specifically 3 openings for Crestview at this time.
Yeah, thank you. The only thing I have is just to add on to what the mayor said about the meeting we went to today. And he was talking about the Triumph money. The Triumph money is only going to come to us if we can demonstrate an ability to raise money toward our own infrastructure. And to do that, we have gone on record to say we'll contribute $8 million. And the county said they'll contribute $30 million if the citizens agree to raise the sales tax 1/2 cent in November. So the meeting was to try to get everybody to support that, because ultimately it's a decision of the citizens anyway. But if they can clearly understand what's going to happen if they vote to do this and how much that money will go to fixing the roads coming into specifically Crestview, it'll help sell it. So it was a pretty good meeting, and everybody was on board. I will mention that there were resolutions from cities supporting the Crestview bypass. You think that typically we're going to support it. We had resolutions from Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Niceville, all telling the Triumph Committee that fixing that road in Crestview, coming into Crestview, is the #1 priority in Okaloosa County. And that was pretty nice to see them do that. Okay, moving along to our staff reports and recommendations. Number 14A. And I believe you're going to address that, Ms. Galen?
No.
The workshop, you are?
Yeah.
I know somebody was.
It's a budget workshop, that would be
Oh,
me.
yeah, it is.
A and B are kind of together. I would like to use just a small portion of this June 5th, 25th workshop for the introduction. I provided department heads and council members with the preliminary numbers we have right now. And we just need to get some direction. And then going to the future, we're looking at a workshop just prior to the regular workshop on July 23rd, a 5 p.m. workshop on August the 6th, and a 5 p.m. workshop again on August the 27th, just prior to the regular workshop. Hopefully, all the factors will be in, and those meetings will be extremely short and extremely productive.
What was that last August date, 27th?
27th, right before the workshop.
Okay.
I'll update the calendars if everybody's, I just need a consensus on that. If there's, and there may be some days when people can't come, but that's fine. If we need more as we get into on the July 23rd, if it looks like we need more, then we could discuss that then. But these are just preliminaries, and if they go quickly and smoothly, then this will be all we need. We will be bringing at the 1st of July regular council meeting the recommendation for millage, because that does have to be passed at the first meeting in July.
Madam Clerk, would you define portion again on the 25th?
I don't anticipate over 30 minutes.
Or 30 minutes?
I don't anticipate
What,
over 30 minutes.
Teresa, what do we have on that workshop besides the discussion on the ISP report on homelessness? Do we have anything else?
Not anything major. If you notice down in the, on item C, we were looking at having if the impact waiver repeal passes tonight, we were looking to have it read on the 25th at a special meeting.
Before the workshop, though.
Before the workshop. Yeah. And we had, at that time, we're gonna have probably, 3 more ordinances that could be included, but it would be reading by title and voting on.
Yeah, let's not make this 10 or 15.
I will add, it will go a lot shorter if all of you all look at your notebooks that I handed out on Friday, and I'll be out of the office for the next week, but the week before that, if you call me when I get back in the office on that week, on that Thursday and Friday, and ask me any questions or email me any questions that you have on them, we can get that answered and don't have to do it all that night. It'll go a lot faster.
Okay, we have a consensus to go ahead and dedicate sometime the 25th and set up the 23rd of July, 6th of August, and 27th of August as workshops. Like Madam Clerk said, some of us at some point will have a conflict, but if we can kind of agree that those are the dates to shoot for. Sound good? Mm-hmm. Madam Clerk, you have a consensus on that?
Thank you.
C, one is 1662. Let's see if we can roll on down there. It's way down here. And I'm ready, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 1662 reads by title. An ordinance of the City of Crestview, Florida, providing for amending the City of Crestview Code of Ordinances, Part 2, Subpart A, Chapter 86, Traffic and Vehicles, by repealing Article 5, Traffic Impact Fee, and Article 6, Traffic Impact Fee Waiver, providing for severability, providing for repeal of all ordinances and or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date. This is a first reading of Ordinance 1662.
Gentlemen, this has to do with our discussion of the mobility fee and the end of the traffic impact fee waiver. This will remove the entire article for the traffic impact fee and the traffic impact fee waiver from Chapter 86, Traffic and Vehicles, from our Code of Ordinances. So therefore, even though the waiver will actually expire, traffic impact fees will not be reintroduced because they will be repealed. This will leave way. We're going to be working in conjunction with Okaloosa County on the mobility fee, which is with traffic impact fees out of the way, we will proceed with the one-on-one case by the surrounding area. The mediation that we can use presently with our property owners and the development. Mr. Steele explained that particular procedure that's in our code and in our comp plan, and that seems to be a more workable solution. It allows for the developer that's actually developing the piece of property to fund the improvements that are right adjacent to his property. And we have drawn much greater benefits from that than we ever have with our traffic impact fees.
Any comments, questions? This is something we discussed last meeting to do. Any other comments, questions? Can I get action? And if you would, word your motion to include the special workshop, special meeting rather.
Mr. President,
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Barker.
I move to adopt ordinance 1662 on the first reading and send to the second reading, including the workshop status.
Second.
Motion second to adopt ordinance 1662 on first reading and send to second reading, and to have a special meeting on the 25th of June for the second reading. Any discussion? Go to voting, please. We've all agreed on that, 5-0. Okay, now we want to look at the recommendations on what we're going to send out to the public on the proposed referendum, on the proposed change to our charter.
Right. The single page sheets that look like this, we were not aware if we could use a double-sided flyer or we needed a single-sided flyer in order for it to be go out in the utility bills, or if it needed to be black and white or color. So we have provided, at the very tightest regulation, we have provided a black and white single-sided.
Either one. It just changes the cost.
Okay.
By how much? Double?
Double-sided, it's about 1.5 times for double-sided. Color adds about another 2 or 3 cents to each copy. So we just sent out two double-sided pages for the city on water thing, and I believe that cost is $500 a meeting, a cycle. So that'll be a little over $1,000. A single-sided black and white is about $650 for 2 cycles. If you're talking about using this one,
No, we're talking about this one.
Yeah, this one would cost about $2,000 to get out.
Oh, this one we were thinking for your meetings, This one can be produced in-house rather inexpensively, and it's sort of chock full. It allows for some frequently asked questions, your date of your primary. It's also identified where you can receive other information, and most important, it has your ballot questions on there.
This one could be JPEG and put on Facebook.
Right, this one, as well as our little, this one is a little handout brochure that would be able to be placed. We have some of those little clear stand-up racks. These could be placed at different locations at the library and all. This, again, would be very inexpensive for the city to print.
Teresa, what I'm missing is I have a black and white and a color of the same page, but I don't have the same.
It's the same page. It's to show you what it would.
Okay, so there's only one page? I thought you said there was a backside to it.
No, we were asking, we said, we chose the most restricted. If we needed to provide the cheapest element for the printout, we would provide a black and white, single-sided.
Okay.
For, I think Ms. Roy said for 2 more pennies a sheet, you could provide a single-sided colored, which may be a little more eye-catching in the water bill.
Okay, but
So that's,
they're both single-sided.
they're both single-sided, yes, sir.
All right.
This one contains 4 areas, print areas. And this one, like I said, is just simply a trifold with, it has pros and cons, it has questions, just been generally frequent asked questions of the council and manager form of government.
This one could go on the water bill, if it was black and white, this could go on the water bill, because they will, basically what they're gonna do is that.
Is this, okay, well, this, if it were black and white, would
Or
be.
color, it would just be more expensive than the color.
Per copy, it would be, you're saying color was 2 cents, 2 or 3 more
The
cents?
problem is you can't limit it to just residential, so it has to go out to all 10,000 customers.
Uh-huh.
But it could go out, and depending on how much you guys want to spend, just a thought, this could go out in July. This could go out in August.
I think it's overkill.
Because if you get both of these in the thing at the same time, I know where they're going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have one that has the information, and then you have the actual ballot that's gonna go out, because the supervisor of elections is gonna mail out the ballot,
Right.
so.
Mr.
Really,
Parker,
that copy you had in your hand there, Mr. President, I don't have it in my package.
You don't have this?
handed out when we came in.
No, I don't have it.
This one was handed out when we came into it.
When we
I
come
don't
in,
have
I
that.
put
No,
a,
you
that's
didn't
what
get
I
it?
was putting, had all the,
Okay.
there should have been 4 in the.
Thank you.
This one does not have the ballot questions. This one, is the ballot questions, so.
Well, like the city clerk said, the ballot questions are gonna go out by
Yes,
the
sir.
supervisor of elections.
Yeah.
So I think our goal is to educate the people.
The only thing this one doesn't have in it is the choice on the city clerk. Okay, but, it doesn't have anything on here about, and there is no difference between an appointed and elected city clerk, so maybe that just needs to be a small mention of, there will also be a question about whether the city clerk should remain elected or appointed.
Okay, it just says, it's, the questions come from,
City
stemming from from the council city manager. So I think that may be why that wasn't addressed in there.
I know there's items going out in July, but these could go out, at the very latest, the second billing in July and the first billing in August. But they should be able to go out in July.
Or if this is not acceptable, if somebody else has a better idea, we've struggled on this, trying to remain unbiased and factual.
Well, gentlemen, what do you think?
This is not even being considered for distribution.
This will be for
Full pages.
for handouts. It won't go in the water bill, But this here, like I say, can be printed inexpensively here. If you're going to have a town hall, if you're going to have a meeting, if you have a place that you would like to place some. It's, the cost on it will be minuscule. And we can print those in-house. We can print any of these in-house.
I would make a suggestion on this one, and you and I can talk about it later. On this one, instead of all pictures, maybe a thing of, did you know you have a choice in your city government? So that they're not just looking at this as an advertisement and pitching it. A big, a eye catcher on the front part of it that says, did you know you're gonna have a choice in city government? And then just go from there. The rest of it's a good thing, but it needs to be something besides just a,
That's why we blew up this, is because that used to have a question there.
yeah.
And
something just-
it was in a, the wording was not appropriate, so we, but if we would like to put something in there, that would be.
Just a thought for an eye-catching, did you know you're gonna have a choice? It's not saying, we want you to choose this or not choose this, but did you know? And then, on the back page, are you registered to vote?
Yeah, as long as it remains factual, because this one is geared to one specific thing, explaining frequently asked questions from council
But
members.
if people aren't aware of what's going on, they may wonder why they're getting this.
Why they're getting this anyway. I had wanted to be able to put our date on each one, but that may not be advisable on that. I haven't gotten a clear-cut answer if whether or not that could be. Or Mr. Hawley, you may could tell me if we could put the when the ballot date on a particular factual.
No, it's a matter of fact, what date it is, I don't see why. But as long as you don't encourage them to vote one way or the other.
Right. We just would like to encourage them to vote.
And if you, you need to, I hope all those percentages you got on there are correct, because that could be a problem if they're not.
Well, we took them from the research that we did.
That's everything, Ed looks like
It was based in research from, I think we had some from 2014 and some from 2016, was the research data. We had done a lot of that research data during the Charter Review Committee.
Yeah, that's the only place to me that if it wasn't correct, you could be trying to get it to vote one way or the other.
Well, it tells you that it's based on government statistics, based on census, and the Florida League of City data. That's where they got their numbers.
Mr. Hayes, you have something?
Just one thing. I mean, I like this. This is what I've been waiting for before I set my town hall meetings. I know it's money for both, regardless. So to me, for information is the main thing, whether it's colored or not. I could care less. If you're gonna read it, you're gonna read it whether it's in black and white or if it's in color. It looks good, but the information is still the same on both. So I wouldn't have any objections against the black and white. Matter of fact, when I ask for copies of these, black and white will suffice for that. So I have no problems with that. But I can establish when I'm gonna have town hall meetings. Right now, I'm looking with this information one based on June. And then I'm looking at one at Warriors Hall in February. February. In July, but there's some coordination I have to do with the one at Warriors Hall in July. So hopefully I'll be able to provide those dates real soon.
So I shouldn't interject the statistics that will tell you the colored, the black and white is highly favored. I shouldn't tell you. I don't remember the exact level. people will pick up a colored brochure
Sure will.
many times faster than they will a black and white. They will read a colored brochure many times faster than they will a black and white.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Fairclough.
I just happened to have seen a short video the other night on somebody that did a study of colors. They provide this information to politicians when they start to see how they want to do their signs and so forth. They were saying on that, even lime green, if you paint the inside of a jail cell lime green, that's supposed to keep the prisoners calmer. Who would have known?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Don't paint it red.
they did prove, like Ms. Teresa's saying, that just a little bit of color catches the eye, and they'll look and see what's so important that they had to put it in color.
And I can tell you, printing this in-house is minuscule. You're looking at probably 1 to 2 cents. And that's if we get good grade paper.
Well, you have the floor, Mr. Fairclough. Which one of these
The single
2 or
sheet,
3 are you leaning towards? So we can kind of
well,
move along here.
the single sheet one that we'll put in the
Right.
water bills, the colored.
That's giving out the ballots. It's not giving any information about
Well, then,
council.
as Roy said, we'd follow it up the following month with this.
Well, this would be first.
Oh,
This-
okay,
Ballot right before the election,
okay,
is what I was thinking.
okay.
That would be great.
We really want to do 2 mailings. I mean, the ballots being mailed up by the supervisor of elections also. Why would we want to do that? You give them this and let Paul do his job.
Well, if, well, let me
You could
put it
add on
this
here
way.
something about, if
I-
you want a copy of the ballot questions, call City Hall or Supervisor of Elections, give them a little bit more information on that.
Traditionally, well, in the last few elections anyway, Crestview has not really turned out to vote. In fact, before I was seated on this panel, I was so disgusted one time at the turnout of the voters that I wrote a letter to the editor, and I thanked all those people that didn't vote for putting their trust in me to elect their representatives. And that's what you're doing when you don't vote. You're trusting me to do the right job. So I think the more information we can get out there to people will entice them to vote on a particular issue.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Booker.
That's what I've hounded on for 3 years, educate the people. If this is all we got, make sure they get both of them.
All right. No other discussion. Okay, someone make a motion of what we want to do then, and we'll second it and move it to any further discussion that we might have.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Booker.
Be in order, I make a motion that we supply both of these data sheets to the public.
In black and white or color.
I would like to see color.
All right,
I
make your
stipulate
motion.
color.
Okay, then put your motion like that, both of these in color,
Yes.
okay? We have a motion.
And a second.
I have a second to supply all the Crestview voters with a colored copy of this. a colored
And
copy of
that.
Okay, everybody understand the motion? All right, and a second. So, any further discussion?
I will, if, just for a thought,
You recognize, Madam Clerk.
we don't have to have this to the printer in Atlanta until the 1st of August if we want this to go out in August. Okay, so we've got time, fix it, talk about it, make it look whatever information we want on it, and you guys look at it at the 25th and say, yay, verily, here you go.
Okay. So if
This
we're,
one's
if we're
fine.
gonna, no, but you're saying the 1st of
I
August?
meant 1st of July.
1st of July, okay, 1st of July,
July,
1st of
August.
August. Okay. You kinda scared
of the
me
month,
there.
sorry.
It scared me how we're gonna get both of them done in
No.
less than a month.
I just lost the entire month of July.
All right.
Mr. President,
Okay.
question.
Yes, go, now we're in discussion.
a discussion. For as far as what's on the front page, could I get what's on the other pages without having the front page while they're trying to figure out what's going to go there? Because I want to start some action on this prior to 1st of July.
It
Because
won't
you
ta-
say you could run these off. I mean, to me, it doesn't. That right there is not that important.
Well, if y'all let me know what y'all want there, do you want a question? Do you want the date of the vote? Do you want, we actually have our location, our phone number and all on this page here. You tell me what you want there, and it takes about 2 seconds to put it there.
Mr. President, I at least like the date of the election on
Me
there
too.
for sure.
I do too.
Okay, the date?
Right.
And it would be debatable, whatever else they want to put on there, but the date is important. And I don't know, it's your form of government you choose. I
Yeah,
don't know what they see.
leave
But I don't.
leave the city logo in there.
Yeah, that doesn't.
We make it
Date,
much smaller.
and replace the top picture with some verbiage that will grab your attention.
Oh, so you want to keep the city seal but get rid of the picture?
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, everybody knows what City Hall looks like.
Okay, so remove City Hall, and
Put
we will,
verbiage in.
we will put the referendum date there, okay?
And an eye catcher, whatever saying.
Pardon?
Something like your choice, your government, whatever Mr.
On
Hayes
the
said.
28th of August.
And Mr. President, since we're in discussion, whenever they decide, I'd like at least 50 copies of regardless, or whatever they got on there, start off.
Yes, sir?
And then they can let me know whenever they get the 50 ready, and I'll start doing something with those 50.
Does everybody feel confident that we know what we're gonna get with this vote? All right, everybody knows? Okay.
On the change, gonna be the place of that.
Yep, they're gonna take this up, put some verbiage in there, okay?
Okay.
All right, ready to vote?
Yeah.
Please vote. We've got a big 5-0. Why 5-0?
While we're still thinking this, if we want an average first run, do we want to start with 500 of these, 1,000? How many do you want to start with producing? Do you want to enable these to be at various locations? Your single page, where it can be picked up, like library. I just need directions. If you want it around, if you want them around town, where that it can be something that they pick up. Do you prefer to have this around town, where it can be actually picked up? And when do you want to start sending them out?
Mr. Blocker.
Tomorrow. But I want a copy of each of these to go to the house in the water bills.
Yes, sir. We're going,
Yeah,
round one in
we-
July will be this one.
That's gonna be in addition to the water bill.
This will be in the water bill, but we're going to print them so that they can be distributed
And
out.
also how distributed in areas around this city.
And this will go out in August, this water bill. So,
Mr. President, since we're on
Yes.
this, and we've already voted.
Yeah.
Is it possible that this information, I guess legal can let us know, if this information can be incorporated on the multimedia sites, are they too extensive, or would that be
You
appropriate?
mean on the website?
You mean on the website, yeah?
On the
Facebook
website,
and
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
yes,
Oh, that's nothing.
No problem.
Thomas can just upload that.
that's why
In fact, we want
these
on
are
the
that's why these are factual.
Yeah,
And
that's
we-
fine.
that doesn't, it's, that's the reason we will have to check if you want to say, hey, you have a choice. That may be taboo. Having a date of the referendum, a date is a date and it's factual. So if we want, depending on the eye catcher that you want there, we may have to get additional response from legal. Because if you're not trying to persuade anybody, you're just offering the chance to vote.
How about you have a choice August 28th?
I will check that with legal.
What's
That's a
illegal?
fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, it's a fact.
That's a
There's no
fact.
bias there.
It's a fact, it's a fact, it's a fact to us, but,
Well, you got August 28 on one of these other ones. Yeah. On August 28th, it says that Crestview will have the opportunity to decide whether or not to amend the city charter. So, August 28th, you have a choice.
so,
You check, I don't think you're gonna get any opposition on that. It's not
I will,
biased.
I will put this on this is okay. On August 28th, citizens of Crestview have a way to do that. This is approved, but I will ask for the other if you want to do that.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, Mr. Hawley, do you have anything for us? Okay. Madam Clerk, do you have anything for us? Mr. Steele, do you have anything for us?
Real quick, Mr. President. I met with Jason Autry, Okaloosa County, and we looked at our schedules in regards to the paving of Main Street and the opening of the courthouse. We've coordinated that effort. I'm going to advertise for that work in July. Then it'll be before you at the 1st of August to award the bid and approve the contract. And then hopefully we can begin construction of repaving Main Street at the 1st September. He said they are on schedule for the completion of the courthouse in August, but the tentative opening date is October 1. So we want to have everything done. We're going to start on the north end and work our way to the south end of Main Street. So that way, if we're not quite complete in October 1, we'll at least we'll be on the other end of town. Other thing, the Environmental Center building, we touched on that briefly, but it's in the TRC meeting in the morning. We don't anticipate any delays, and then the building has been ordered. Everything is ready to go. The contractor's setting on go. If it gets approved tomorrow, we should start construction within the next few weeks. The dog park, we touched on that. I just want to give you a brief update that too is we were waiting on some traffic analysis and some other things that we have to go through just like any other development. And now that's done, it's complete, everything's done. We coordinated with April because she's worked very, very hard to get donations for certain parts of that dog park. We convinced her, let's go ahead and move forward with what we had. And that primarily was, the basic needs, the fencing, the lighting, things like that, so we could, start the groundbreaking. So that's on the TRC for the 26th of this month. And on the splash pads, we still have some other improvements to make around them, like the little covered seating areas, and we've got some erosion issues down at Northview, and we're extending sidewalks to those pads for handicap accessibility, things like that. We just wanted to get them open so that kids could start enjoying them a little bit. That was our primary focus. We're just give us a chance. We haven't finished. And thanks for the word of confidence and the attaboys on those. I'll pass them along to Chuck and the rest of the guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Commander Grant?
No, sir.
Ray?
No, sir.
Oh. Chief?
No, sir.
Teresa? All right, good. Okay, at this time, we take inputs from the audience. I have one card up here, Ms. Patterson. You approach the podium and give us your name and address and share with us your thoughts.
Anganetta Patterson, 426 Benjamin Street. Can y'all hear me?
If you could move the mic down just a little bit, that would be good. There you go.
Okay, Anganetta Patterson, 426 Benjamin Street, Crestview, Florida. Okay, and Miss Coleman told me to tell everybody hello and God bless you all. Make sure I do that. On behalf, I'm just talking about on May Day, the blocking of the streets. Me and some more of the citizens of Crestview were just wondering if they could stop blocking the streets and start just patrolling. Because when the blocking of the street, I mean, we can't even ride up and down some of the streets. And we used to go riding on May Day. You can't do that now. And May Day is a celebration of our freedom. And I don't even go out after the parade because I like to ride. I like to go riding. But I don't like to be mistreated by police that are rude to you for no reason when you haven't done anything wrong. And the police need to learn to treat people with kindness, love and kindness, instead of looking at a person like they did something wrong. That's just not right. And it happened to a few people. And some people was talking about how they got pulled over, saying they didn't have a tag light. Then when they look back there, they did have a tag light. Some things just need to be stopped. And I want to bring it to the attention before next year. You got a whole year to really talk about it. If they blocking the streets for a reason, let us know what the reason really is to block the streets, so you have one street that you can go down and the flow of traffic is so slow it takes you 30 minutes to get home. And I just wanted to put that bug in y'all ear before next year on May Day, because if I didn't do this, I would be thinking about it the whole year. So I had to go on and do it. And also, I just want to say thanks for the splash park at Allen Park. We really appreciate it. And God bless each and every one of y'all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, who coordinates these blocking of the streets so we can look at it?
That's with the police department.
Strictly police department?
And we have actually, Commander Grant and I talked about that already. We're looking at some of the issues in the neighborhood there, see what would work the best. That had been changed. May Day used to have a whole lot more people there, and it was trouble with people walking in the streets while alongside vehicles and everything. And the attendance has been down this year, so it may change the way things have been done.
So y'all looking at it though, right?
Yes, we are.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience would like to approach the city council at this time? If so, please come up, identify yourself.
Ken Nielsen, 3162 Applin Road. And I just want to say, Betsy's got a really good idea about changing the photos on that flyer to the text. I think that's a pretty good idea. I attended all these town halls so far, and we're going to attend the other ones. And I think having a handout is really important. I know JB and I get frustrated when there's only like 10 people there, but if you can hand something to those 10 people that they can take with them, especially the larger one that Wayne was showing me, the 4 pages or 2 pages, color. If you could take those and hand those out at those things, I think would be very helpful also. So.
Thank you, Ken. It's been bugging me, so I'm going to have to ask you, Mr. Hawley. I need your opinion on this. If the city is producing these handouts, which are unbiased, right? They're just facts. But as a city councilman, I take this to my town hall meeting, which I give my opinion. Can I hand these out? See, these are generated taxpayer expense.
That could be a question.
Well, that's why I asked you.
Because as long as the city is the one that sends them out, and they just give facts, that's one thing.
All right.
But if you're using them at a town hall to encourage them to vote one way or the other, then it could be a problem.
What if he just made them available, left them laying on the table?
If you just lay them on the table.
Well, what the statute says is you can't use city money to produce something that's gonna be used to try to get somebody to vote.
Which this doesn't do.
Well,
But me standing over it does. That's
yeah,
why I
that's what my concern is, because you're there trying to get them to vote one way.
That's why I want to be really clear.
Could,
Mr. Nielsen, you have
could we
something?
form an action pack or something like that that would allow us to do that publicity part of it instead of the city? Kind of like they did for the tax for the school district that fell apart?
Yeah, if somebody else was doing it.
Well, I'm saying outside person. I'm not volunteering myself, but I know people who like to do that kind of stuff, and maybe we could come up with something, I could help them come up with something, if that would be,
Anything a group like that comes out with, as long as the city's not participating and putting any money into it, they can do whatever.
could they,
As long as they comply with the election laws.
so you would be able to supply them with materials, and they'd have to do their own materials, pay for their own material, you wouldn't be able to supply them with these things?
What the statute says, public funds cannot be.
Right. Right now, I do handouts that I produced at home and print on my own printer, because there's no taxpayer money involved in that. My concern is if I take these from the city, there's taxpayer money.
Yeah.
But if I made copies of these on my own printer, is that skirting the issue or not?
I don't see where that's not the city using any money. If you're making copies of it.
Not copyright.
How's somebody gonna know which copy's which?
That's
That gets,
I wouldn't do it.
Well, I'll think about that action thing, we'll talk.
Okay, anyway,
I would think that it would be in the best interest of all of you
I continue making my own.
to keep away from that.
All right, I just want to be perfectly clear.
That's good to know, 'cause
Okay, no other calls from the audience? I think we had a pretty good meeting, especially after the first one lasted so long. So y'all get to go home. Thank you all for coming.